edition of the 3-Point Conversion Presents Making the Cut. I'm your host, Mr. Controversy, sitting here live at Scrub Oaks Restaurant in Fayetteville, North Carolina. You know I got my boys with me. Big Juggernaut.
What's happening, baby?
I got the special guest, the sportsologist.
What's up?
I got my boy, Big Google.
Yeah.
Got my man, Will, the sports guru.
Happening.
And I got my special guest, Big TJ.
I got you.
And today's topic, we're talking about the NFC South division. Yo, you know it's one of the best divisions in the NFL. Who you got? Juggernaut, what you got?
You know the division is near and dear to my heart. The way it is, it's the toughest division. There's always a new champ every year. This year, I do believe the champ will be the Saints. However, the Falcons will make a strong play into the division. They'll be in the wild card and they'll have a chance to make it all the way to the big dance. That's my home team. You already know what it is, baby.
To me, I absolutely see the Saints actually going and winning that division. However, I am keeping a close watch on Tampa Bay. Lovie Smith going down there, I think it's going to actually transform that team a lot. So, Saints locking up Jimmy Graham, I really think that that's going to be a big move for them.
Well, you already done heard the prophecies from the other two people that are panelists. So therefore, of course, going with the Who That Nation, the Saints. You heard me, baby, what's happening. If you think about it, once again, we got that prolific offense. We shored up the defense. We brought in some veterans to be able to train, you know, the rookie cornerbacks and everything. Champ Bailey going to be able to just be a coach on the field. We got, you know, Rob Ryan, one of the greatest defense coordinators in the game, and of course, the greatest offensive coordinator in the game, Sean Payton, along with the most prolific quarterback, Drew Brees, all the way now. True enough, just as my other panelists said, that Lovie Smith is going to build a team in Tampa Bay, of course, focus first on defense. They're going to have a great offense. And of course, Atlanta is going to do, because they're just that team that, hey, they're not going to be down and out. So I think all in all, we're going to be a great division, but Who That Nation all the way, baby.
Yo, NFC South, like Big Juggernaut said, is dear to my heart too as well. But I gotta go with the Dirty Birds. You know, I'm going with Atlanta Falcons, and it ain't just because that's my team. I really think if you really dissect the division, Carolina, they pretty much clean house. And so, other than Luke Kuechly and Greg Hardy on the defense, and Cam Newton has nobody to throw to. I mean, I think Greg Olsen might still be there. The other two running backs, get out of here. Saints, them giving up Darren Sproles, it's going to affect their offense more than they think everybody think it is. Brandon Cooks is not going to be able to replace that. Okay, Jimmy Graham got the big contract, so after he gets the big contract, what is he going to be able to provide? Yeah, he might still be able to put up numbers, but how is your running game going to do? How is your defense going to come back and have a bounce back year? Yeah, Rob Ryan is a good defensive coordinator, but his defenses over time have been not sustained the same level of intensity. So therefore, with the Falcons drafting Devontae Freeman out of Florida State to team up with Steven Jackson, Julio Jones coming back healthy, these guys are going to be able to drive the ball down the field and make some plays. Matty Ice is going to think he's going to have a bounce back year. We got a good offensive lineman. We had a good draft pick in Jake Matthews. I think every year with the division being up for grab, I think the Falcons going to get it this year, man. So watch out for them boys.
Up until, you know, we got ready to start the show, I was torn, because this division, as we said, I've always had a different person winning it every time. And when you look at the divisions, it's like this division is the most up in the air. It's like we can talk about, you know, anybody being a contender, except for Tampa Bay. I expect them to have some growing pains. Carolina did clean house, and I enjoy watching Cam. This being a contract year for him, I expect something from him. But when I look at New Orleans and when I look at Atlanta, you know, those are two front runners for me. And if I have to pick one more than the other, I have to look at Atlanta, only because I feel like they've got more. You know, if you look at New Orleans in the playoffs last year, the question was, how do you match up with Sproles and how do you match up with Graham? Well, one of those names is not there anymore, and that's going to cause issue. I think Brees is going to miss having that threat that Sproles offer, whereas when I look at Atlanta, you got a beast back in Steven Jackson. You got Julio Jones coming back, wanting to prove that, you know, he is that guy, because his contract's going to come up soon too. That man want to get paid. So I honestly look at the weapons that they got in Atlanta, playing indoors. You don't have to worry about the elements. Then you got, you know, a game in New Orleans. I expect a lot from Atlanta this year. Matty Ice, that malt liquor that he is, he needs to step up and make a name for himself right now, because right now he looks like he's following the track that Peyton Manning had, having great regular seasons, and then in the playoffs you just don't know what's going on. So I think this might be a year for him. I'm looking at Atlanta.
You all made some great points. It's hard for me. I'm like Big TJ, I'm torn. But I really think Tampa Bay is going to surprise some folks and take over that division. I mean, you bring in Lovie Smith, who's a seasoned coach. Remember, they have Muscle Hamster back, so he's coming back. So, you know, he's a workhorse, and you know Lovie Smith loved to pound that ball. And with Josh McCown starting, you put him with 2 big receivers, which he's comfortable with, which we saw in Chicago.
Right.
So I think that's going to cause a lot of havoc in the South. Plus, they have a great defense. They still have a great defense. And again, Lovie Smith is coming back. He's a great defensive coach, so that's what he does. Now with the Saints, I still think the Saints are going to the playoffs. I mean, the offense, look, as long as you have Drew Brees, you're always in the hunt. But the thing is, they let go of, Lance Moore. They let go of Lance Moore, and they let go of Sproles. That's going to hurt them. Now, we know Drew Brees can play with anyone. We know that. But still, you've taken away a lot of, I guess I should say, a lot of continuity, you know, with the team. So you don't have that much experience anymore. But I look at Atlanta Falcons, that's going to be interesting because Julio's coming back. Roddy White just got paid, so you know he's ready to play. Matty Ice, I think he's ready to take back the division. So it's going to be interesting. Like you said with Carolina, hey, Carolina, they clean house. I mean, why do they do that to Cam? He just took you and won the division. This guy won the division. And now you took away all of his players. Yeah, you got the wide receiver from Florida State, but come on, man. Why? I don't understand. So, like I said, I think Tampa Bay is going to surprise some folks and take over that division.
Tampa Bay I think, will be in a close second to the Falcons. I don't even think the Saints will be second place. That's just my honest opinion because of, what they gave up is key because they're not going to be able to keep up. When I say keep up, I'm talking about defensively because the Falcons are going to come with so many different. We just got Brian Cox as a defensive coordinator, Mike Tyson as the offensive coordinator. These guys are going to be coming with a lot of different schemes, a lot of different looks. Matt Ryan's going to have protection this year, bar none injury. When Matt Ryan is healthy and can stay upright, he gets the ball down the field and he makes plays. Julio Jones make plays too as well. Like I said, Devontae Freeman teaming up with Steven Jackson, these guys are going to bring multiple elements to the game. Now, what I give Tampa Bay is having 3 big monsters, tight end and 2 wide receivers. But Josh McNown, I would have kept Mike Glennon as the starting quarterback. That's just my opinion because he had a great continuity and a great connection with Vincent Jackson, and he's going to be able to do a lot more things. I think that's just how it's gonna go, man. But the division might be up in the air, but I think the Falcons, like I said before, they still might get it.
I'm still gonna put my pick in the Saints. However, when you're looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you're looking at the fact of them having Vincent Jackson. You're also having Mike Evans that they added to the offense. It's gonna be crazy. Like Mr. Controversy said, the defense on Tampa Bay is still good. You added the defensive coach in Lovie Smith as well. Carolina Panthers, I don't know why the heck they let Steve Smith go in the first place, but Kelvin Benjamin, adding that guy to the offense is going to help, but it's not a Steve Smith at the end of the day. So, I mean, when you're looking at this division, it's going to be absolutely crazy. It's going to be bunkers, and I'm just going to be excited to actually just see where it goes from there.
Now, when you think about these picks, we have to break it down. Everybody's upgraded on defense. They've already talked about the upgrades that Tampa Bay has done on defense. You forget they got Michael Johnson to come in to add an edge pass rush. They also have brought in 6'5" receivers in terms of Austin Seferian-Jenkins as well as Mike Evans to go with the triple towers, emulating what the Chicago Bears have done. You think about Carolina, they brought in Kelvin Benjamin. You lost Steve Smith. You don't have a downfield threat. Jason Avant is a possession receiver. You still have Greg Olsen. That's decent, but you have to understand what Carolina does. They have an offense that works methodically down the field by running the ball and putting Cam in no pressure situations. That's good. But when you think about it, if you're up and you're playing an aggressive offense such as Atlanta and you're playing an aggressive offense such as the Saints, you won't be able to keep up. That's the issue there. Now, with the Saints, I have them picked only because of their schedule. Their schedule is easy. If you take a look at their schedule, they have games that are easily winnable at that time in the Superdome. Their toughest opponents are in the Dome. And here's the thing with the Saints. Now, the offense is prolific. You lost about 60 to 70 catches with Darren Sproles, but those catches are coming out of the backfield. A lot of people will try to tell you that Pierre Thomas will pick up that slack. I don't think that that's necessarily feasible or possible. You brought in Brandon Cooks to replace some of that production, but that is from the slot and or the outside. Marcus Colston has lost a step. Kenny Stills, although young and explosive, is injury prone. Now, here's the biggest thing with New Orleans that worries me. New Orleans has an issue handling an inside pass rush. New Orleans Saints do not have a center. That's going to be an issue. The guards are underperforming. That's going to be an issue. If Drew Brees has time, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the game. If he doesn't have time and he experiences pressure, that's going to be an issue. I think they're going to split the series with the Falcons. I think the Falcons have a chance to win, but they have a lot of known unknowns in terms of the defense. They have people that they've selected in terms of the interior line, they got beefier, and the linebacker core, they got beefier. But they have to be able to prove it. That's all I'm saying.
Being in Carolina, I have to actually, make sure I put some time on them and say, when we say that they cleaned house, we're really just talking about them losing, Steve Smith for what he meant in a leadership role for that team. Regardless of whether you get 1 catch or 5 catches, whenever he touches the ball, the team lifted up because that man brought so much fire whenever he played. And I think more than anything, that's what Carolina's going to be missing, because it was somebody to take some of the pressure off of Cam as being a leader for that team. I don't know what to expect from Kelvin Benjamin, because in the national championship game where he supposedly made his name, he also made some serious drops in that game as well. So he's a big body, which Cam needs, because a mobile quarterback needs a big body to throw the ball to. But one of the biggest rookie signings was what I saw in Atlanta, picking up Jordan Matthews on that offensive line. Because picking up a guy like Steven Jackson, you want to be able to get him the ball, because one thing that we can say about Atlanta is whenever they've had a lead in the past, they've lost it because they haven't been able to depend on that running game late in games. So you shore up that offensive line. Now you can get more out of Steven Jackson, and hopefully he can stay healthy so that you can actually depend on him to be that beast back for you. But the thing about it is, one of the issues I see with Carolina is they've already said it. You don't really have a downfield threat for Cam, and if you're playing against New Orleans, you're playing against Atlanta, these teams can put up touchdowns. And running the ball with, however many, with Tolbert, I love Tolbert, but running the ball with Tolbert is not going to keep you in the games unless you're already up. It'll run down the clock, but it'll definitely see you losing. So I see Carolina definitely taking a quick turnaround from first to last.
So now I listen to everybody give their points, and basically, in other words, in reference to Guru just saying that Atlanta is going to win and he believes this and that. If I ain't mistaken, Guru, you clearly said last week, we were talking in the barbershop, and you clearly believed that Atlanta was going to be 8-8. So therefore, all your statements are just false. Your Honor, I move that we just throw this out due to lack of substantiated evidence and everything. Clearly, if you think about it, New Orleans Saints, when you think about it, Atlanta, have they shored up the defense? Their secondary can't cover a newborn baby with a blanket. So therefore, how they going to stop New Orleans? You talking about we lost Darren Sproles with 60 to 70 catches. But in turn, of course, we got, Cooks that we drafted. But then think about it. Nobody pay attention to the fact of the 2 playoff games, the running backs, and what Robinson and Ingram did. They both produced over 80 yards each. So therefore, New Orleans had a balanced attack. Drew Brees threw for 300 yards just in the second half against Seattle. Our defense, of course, we went from number 30, number 50 in the league of all time to top 5 in the run stop based on Rob Ryan coming in, and now we've shored the secondary up with Jerry's Bird and bringing in Champ Bailey, a veteran on the field, not to do what old Champ did, but just to be able to coach the younger boys and help, strengthen them. So now you're talking about the Falcons. Once again, you still ain't done nothing defensively. You still ain't brought in anything prolific to be able to say we can stop somebody. We can't stop the air attack with Drew Brees. Clearly, come on now. 4 years, four different times in an 8-year span of over 5,000 yards. And mind you that this man is 13-3 against the Falcons. So I don't even know where they have a defense for that analogy. So now, in that sense there, Carolina, of course, once again, what Cam going to do? Is he going to mentally be able to focus, because he lost Steve Smith, he don't have nobody to throw to, just like Guru said. Greg Olsen may still be there. So therefore, like you say, everybody said great points. And Tampa Bay, once again, is up and coming. But clearly, just to be able to just dish New Orleans and make it it like as if this is what they're concerned about. I believe they're going to have a balanced attack because of the productivity and the playoffs of Ingram and Robinson. That's going to balance them out where Drew Brees don't necessarily have to throw for 350, 400 yards a game.
So I'm glad Big Google brought up Jarius Byrd and that defense, because clearly that defense stepped up. And they looked scary with Jarius Byrd, then they brought in Champ. But Jarius Byrd is just coming off of back surgery, so I don't know how long it's going to take him to get up 100%. And then Champ, I mean, you know, he keep getting burnt, so we don't know. But like he said, he's going to be there to mentor those young guys. So I have a question for the panel, and I'm going to start with Will, the sports guru. Who has the best defense in the South? Because first of all, Carolina, you know, Carolina, they was the best last year. But look what the Saints did. Like you said, Atlanta, they made some nice pickups. But Tampa Bay with Lovie Smith, and they already had a nice defense, but with Lovie Smith, and you know what he does. Who do you think has the best defense in that division? Will?
Man, I gotta turn my hat to the back to this one so y'all can see the emblem on what this guy, Big Google, is saying. But to get to your point, Mr. Controversy, Tampa Bay has the best defense in the league. Okay, Lavonte David, stop this madness. Dude's gonna be one of the best linebackers in the league. But I'm gonna get back to what Big Google said. When he brought up Champ Bailey, whose career is pretty much over. You know, Kenny Stills, come on, dog. He's not gonna replace Lance Moore. And you question the Falcons secondary? Alford and Trufant got so much experience last year for the Atlanta Falcons. William Moore is a hitter. When I talk about a hitter, a beast, so the only position we're lacking in our secondary is free safety. Joel Bartu got so much experience, and Paul Warlow at the linebacker position. So our defense is up and coming. We're young, okay? New Orleans Saints ain't gonna be able to stop nobody in their secondary, point blank, period. So Carolina has a better defense as well. Luke Kuechly, I mean, he gets the most tackles in the NFL, point blank, period, as well. Thomas Davis, come on, dog. So New Orleans Saints fans, keep in mind what y'all saying. Y'all are built on y'all offense. Your defense, y'all got there last year, but you're not gonna be able to keep that up. Our defense is up and coming. So what Big Google was referring to is irrelevant. That's my point on that.
I want to show some respect to Mr. McNair. Google, my apologies. What he had to say up front. I got nothing but love for my dude. Me and him been talking off air real quaint, and I have much respect for this guy. But to say that, every comment that he made about New Orleans, I have to call false. You bring in Jarius Byrd, and Jarius Byrd at his best is absolutely outstanding. But when you talk about Champ, bringing Champ in and having him be one of your points is the reason why y'all defense is better. Champ, what do we watch Champ doing? Champ last season for Denver was doing the exact same thing we doing right now, sitting and talking. He wasn't on the field, so how is he on your team supposed to be better, make your defense better than what it was last year? It's absolutely shenanigans is what I'm about to call it. We're going to talk about the best defense. You got to show love to Carolina. That's the one thing that they can hang their hat on, because Luke Kuechly is going to get more tackles than anybody. Why? Because teams are going to be able to run the ball against him, and he's going to be able to go get tackles. That's what Kuechly do. But when I look at Atlanta and when I look at that offense and what they bring, I mean, you talk about Drew Brees being 13-3 against Atlanta. We act like, what, is New Orleans playing Atlanta 16 times a year? No, they only play them twice. So you got a whole nother season, a whole bunch of other games that you got to win. And for whatever reason, New Orleans doesn't go 16-0. They lose games that they shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? And that's where New Orleans' problem is, because they can't win the games that they're supposed to win. And I don't think they have an answer. New Orleans, I don't think they have an answer for Julio and Roddy when they're both healthy. No disrespect, that's just what I'm saying. And I'm not even an Atlanta fan. I'll let your boy.
All right, let's break down these defenses first before we go into this Saints debauchery that we got going on here. Okay, Carolina, everybody says what it is. The front four of Carolina, just be respectful of the front four. Greg Hardy, if he gets a suspension, that's still pending. We don't know. Star Lutulele, Kewan Short. Then you got Charles Johnson. That's scary. That's before you even get to Luke Kuechly. You already know what it is with Carolina. The defense is the power of that team. Now, let's look at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay does have young, funky hogs on defense. We already know. Lavonte David, Mark Barron, Deshaun Golston. Then you brought in Michael Johnson. You still forgot that you still have pieces on the interior defensive line that are good. You have Mr. Short Arm. He's going to be good this year. You have other pieces that are in that defense that are flexible. Now, They just don't have the offensive pieces together, gelling together, because you have a second string quarterback manning the ship. Now, the Saints defense. Let me talk about something a little different than people have been talking about today. We've all picked on Champ. We know he gets burnt, barbecued. We already know what that is. Jerry's Bird, he's on the pup. I don't know if you knew that, but he is. So that back issue is serious. You just had back surgery. Now, Cameron Jordan, bright spot of the defense. Junior Gillette, bright spot of that defense. However, you have no linebackers. Face it, it is what it is. Now, you have you have no linebackers. If you count Curtis Lofton as a linebacker, if you count Victor Butler coming off that injury as a linebacker, we'll see. We will see. Now, who's your second cornerback? If you counting Champ as that, you already know what that is. You're getting burnt every time. Now, so Atlanta, like I said before, there are known unknowns with Atlanta's defense. That pressure will be coming from the middle. Whether it's Osi coming, High Top Jock coming, whether that's Warlow coming, whether that's Bierman coming. The defensive front is stout with Soliai as well as Tyson Jackson. They stop the run. They create pressure with a three-man front where the linebackers can fly across the field because they're young and athletic. Robert Alford and also the other cornerback, Desmond Trufant. Desmond Trufant was rated one of the top rookies, if not one of the best rookies last year. We already know what it is. He has that experience. You have William Moore. You forgot about Dwight Lowry. Yes, he's the free safety, but when we move to the big nickel and you bring in the project, we only have one in Desmond Southwood. It was a pick. It was a reach for me, and I really didn't like it, but once I look at the athleticism, when we run the big nickel, we will be effective. That's point blank what it is. So if I were to rank the defenses, I'll look at Carolina, Tampa Bay, I'll look at the Saints, and I'll look at the Falcons. Now the Falcons can step up and be productive. We're taking.
Yes, you guys moved up and run in the run defense, and the reason that y'all did is because y'all are able to put up points. Showing love to Drew Brees. The man can throw touchdowns. The man can put up points. So if a team is playing from behind, they're not going to run the ball. So it looks like your run defense is great because they're not able to run against you. Carolina's not going to be able to run against New Orleans because they're having to pass the ball to try and keep up. I show love to Drew Brees because Drew Brees can put up numbers. But you're making Drew Brees the next coming or whoever. Drew Brees is now the LeBron James of the NFL because he can do everything that he wants because Big Google said so. All I'm telling y'all is this. You talk about Rob Ryan's defense. We saw Rob Ryan in Dallas, and that was absolutely hilarious. And we can see that same Rob Ryan if the ball falls the other way. Rob Ryan is not the next coming either, man. The man is he's okay, but he's still a Ryan. I don't like his brother. I don't like him. They ain't the daddy. So all I'm saying is there's room for improvement on everybody. I'm not trying to say that the Saints ain't. I'm just saying that the Saints are not that team right now, and I'm picking Atlanta over them. No disrespect, man. That's all fine. Cool.
All right, folks, now we're going to wrap it up. You see it's getting heated in here. That's how we like to do it on the 3-Point Conversion Presents Making the Cut. So I'm going to ask everybody just one answer. Who's the worst team in the division besides Carolina? Who's the third team in the division?
Tampa Bay. We already know what it is. I mean, we've laid out the points. Tampa Bay, they're a young and upcoming team, but they're third in this race. You're looking at the Falcons. You're looking at the Saints. Saints are benefiting off of the schedule. Falcons, you only have question marks because they did upgrade. They just have known unknowns.
I have to go with the same thing. I mean, Tampa Bay has to be there. Like I said, they're a young up-and-coming team. They're a dark horse there. I'm definitely going to be excited to see what they do. But at the end of the day, I have to choose them, Tampa Bay.
Fried birds, raggedy, dirty birds. Once again, they went from 13-3, 4 yards away from going to the Super Bowl, to a doggone 4-12. And you telling me because you lost 2 wide receivers, your defense ain't stopped nobody. So once again, your defense is garbage, not suspect. It's clearly garbage. It belongs on side the road every Wednesday when trash pickup comes.
The Aints. I'm not even gonna say the Saints. The Aints, because look at like going back to Big Juggernaut, what they said, their schedule pretty much lays it out point blank period. Okay, our schedule is tough, and you going back to what who we lost last year. We lost a position in the secondary, linebacker, and on the line, and we still we went 4-12, but going back to 2012, we went 13-3 in each